Nobody knew what it meant at first. The number flashed across screens, whispered through press rooms, and echoed across social media like a riddle waiting to be solved. 460 million yen. One item. One man. And suddenly, America stopped and stared. Because this wasn't just about money. This was about Shohei Ohtani doing something that felt impossible, again. In a sport built on tradition, limits, and unwritten rules, Ohtani has made a career out of breaking the ceiling and then asking if there's another one above it. But this time, the shock didn't come from a home run, a 100-mile-per-hour fastball, or a stat line that looks fake. This time, it came from value. Pure, staggering value. When news broke that an Ohtani-related masterpiece had reached an eye-watering 4.6 billion yen valuation, nearly tripling expectations, the reaction in the US wasn't excitement at first. It was disbelief. Analysts paused mid-sentence. Collectors refreshed their screens. Fans asked the same question over and over again: how is this even possible? Then the word started spreading. Breaking. Not breaking news. Breaking history. This wasn't just another memorabilia headline buried under contracts and trade rumors. This was a cultural moment. Something that forced baseball, business, and fandom to collide in real time. Ohtani has always existed at that intersection. Too Japanese for some American narratives. Too dominant to be ignored. Too unique to be compared. And now, too valuable to measure the old way. The item itself almost didn't matter anymore. Whether it was equipment, legacy-related, or tied to a once-in-a-generation moment, the message was clear. Whatever touches Ohtani doesn't just appreciate, it multiplies. A projected value shattered by 2.8 times. That number stunned Wall Street-style analysts just as much as baseball purists. Because athletes aren't supposed to do this. Not in baseball. Not anymore. The era of myth was supposed to be over. But Ohtani doesn't live in eras. He creates them. In the US, reactions poured in fast. Commentators called it a new gold standard. Others said it marked the beginning of a different kind of superstar economy, one where performance, personality, and global reach fuse into something unstoppable. What made it even more shocking was the timing. Ohtani wasn't standing on a mound when this happened. He wasn't rounding the bases. He wasn't even speaking. The value exploded in silence, proving that his impact doesn't need motion to grow. It just exists. Behind the scenes, executives scrambled. Brands recalculated. Collectors who hesitated weeks earlier realized they were already priced out. The market had moved, and it had moved violently. This wasn't hype. This was confirmation. For years, skeptics said Ohtani's two-way greatness was a novelty. That it would fade. That eventually, the league would figure him out. But markets don't lie. And markets just declared him something rarer than an MVP. They declared him a monument. In Japan, the pride was quiet but powerful. In the US, the reaction was louder, sharper, almost defensive. Because America loves dominance, but it really loves it when it comes from within. And Ohtani keeps reminding everyone that greatness doesn't need permission. The phrase started circulating among insiders, a new milestone. Not just financially, historically. Because when one item tied to a player resets expectations by nearly 3 times, it changes how the future is written. Young players watch. Agents adjust. Leagues take notes. And fans. Fans feel something else. They feel like they're witnessing the kind of rise that only happens once in a lifetime. The kind you tell stories about years later, starting with, I remember when people didn't realize. What makes Ohtani different isn't just talent. It's trust. People believe in him. In his discipline. In his humility. In the idea that he represents something pure in an increasingly commercialized game. Ironically, that's exactly why the value exploded. Because authenticity sells better than noise. And Ohtani has never chased attention, it follows him. American media began reframing the narrative almost instantly. No longer just the best player in baseball. No longer just a two-way phenomenon. But a global standard. A measuring stick that forces every other superstar into context. Some called it uncomfortable. Others called it overdue. But no one called it luck. You don't accidentally redefine worth. You earn it inning by inning. Season by season. Choice by choice. This breaking moment wasn't loud because it needed to be. It was loud because the numbers demanded attention. Because even in a sport drowning in contracts and valuations, this one stood apart. 460 million yen wasn't just a price. It was a statement. It said that Shohei Ohtani is no longer just part of baseball's present. He's being priced into its future. And maybe that's the most powerful part. Because long after the final pitch, long after the stats are archived, moments like this remain. Proof that greatness can transcend the field. That inspiration can have immeasurable weight. As the headlines fade and the shock settles, one truth remains impossible to ignore. Shohei Ohtani didn't just set a new bar. He broke the scale entirely. And somewhere, a young player watching from across the world just learned that limits are optional, and history is waiting.